Imagine that every decision you make is already predetermined. That all your choices, from your career to your morning coffee, are pre-programmed. Now ask yourself this question. Do you really have free will? Hi. Today we are going to dive into one of the most controversial philosophical debates of all time, the problem of free will. The problem of free will is thousands of years old. The ancient Greeks wondered about fate and predestination. Sophocles, in his tragedy, Oedipus the King, shows how the hero tries to avoid the prophecy, but fulfills it anyway. This ancient Greek myth raises an important question. Can we resist the forces of fate, or is everything predetermined? In the Middle Ages, the problem of free will became central to theological debates. Augustine and Thomas Aquinas sought to reconcile divine providence with human freedom. They argued that God knows the future, but that this does not limit our ability to choose. This idea was revolutionary for its time, as many believed that if God knew the future, then man could not be free. The Renaissance brought with it a new understanding of human nature. Thinkers of the time began to see man as an independent being, capable of creativity and self-expression. This change in worldview greatly influenced later philosophical discussions of free will. Let's take a closer look at the concept of determinism. This is the concept that every event or state is the result of previous causes. To better understand this idea, imagine a game of chess. Every move depends on the previous move. And if you know all the previous moves, you can accurately predict the current situation on the board. In classical physics, this idea was clearly formulated by Newton. The laws of mechanics allow us to predict the motion of planets, falling objects, and even the behavior of molecules. If we know the current state of a system, we can predict its future behavior. For example, if you know the initial velocity and angle, you can calculate exactly where the ball will go after impact. But what happens when we apply these principles to the human mind? If our thoughts and actions are subject to the same laws as the movement of a rock or the rotation of the planet, where is the room for free will? Imagine that all of your decisions, from choosing a career to buying a new cell phone, are determined by a combination of genetics, upbringing, and environment. Think about the influence of society, upbringing, and environment on our choices. Isn't it true that most of our choices are shaped by family, culture, and experience? Our values, beliefs, and preferences are often the result of long-term environmental influences. For example, children who grow up in families of musicians are more likely to choose a career in music. One of the most famous experiments was conducted by Benjamin Libet. He asked participants to randomly choose the moment to snap their fingers while simultaneously monitoring their brain activity using electroencephalography, EEG. Amazingly, the readiness to act appeared in the brain 0.3-0.5 seconds before the person realized their decision. Modern functional MRI technology allows us to observe brain activity in real time. Urson Maynard's research has shown that certain areas of the brain are activated seconds before a person makes a decision. In one experiment, scientists were able to predict participants' simple decisions with about 60% accuracy. Cross-cultural differences are also interesting. Studies show that people from collectivist cultures are more likely to attribute their decisions to external factors, while individualists focus more on internal reasons. For example, Japanese people are more likely to attribute their success to the help of a team, while Americans are more likely to attribute their success to personal qualities. Recent research in neurobiology reveals the complex nature of decision-making. It turns out that emotions play a key role in the process. People with damage to certain areas of the brain responsible for emotional regulation have serious difficulty making even simple decisions. There are several main approaches to the problem of free will in philosophy. Hard determinists deny the possibility of free will altogether. For them, everything in the world is subject to the laws of causality, and our choices are no exception. Imagine the world as a giant chessboard where every move is predetermined. Libertarians, on the other hand, claim absolute free will. They believe that we can actually make alternative choices about our own circumstances. This view is sometimes called metaphysical freedom. Compatibilists find a compromise between these two extremes. They argue that free will can coexist with determinism. Modern compatibilism offers an interesting interpretation. Even if our actions are predetermined, we can still be morally responsible if they are consistent with our desires and values. It is also worth mentioning the quantum approach to the problem of free will. Quantum mechanics introduces an element of randomness at the level of microparticles. Can this randomness give us true free will? Or is it just a substitution of one kind of determinism for another? How will artificial intelligence change our understanding of free will? Can a machine have free will? If so, how will we distinguish its choices from its programming? These questions are becoming increasingly relevant as technology advances. Quantum mechanics continues to generate debate about the nature of determinism. Some scientists believe that quantum randomness may be the source of true free will. Others argue that it is simply a different kind of determinism. So the question remains, is free will an illusion? Perhaps the answer lies somewhere in the middle. Our perception of free will may be the result of a complex interplay of biological, psychological, and social factors. What do you think? Does real free will exist? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next episodes of our philosophical journey.